Okay, I'll mute myself now then. Okay.
Okay.
Good luck, everybody. Thanks, Ellie and Rosa, for everything.
No worries. Here's Melon, so I'll just wait for her to join. Hiya. Okay, I'll start sharing my screen now. Okay, so hello everybody, hope you're all well and welcome to our presentation. Our group's allocated project is the Behind Closed Doors project, which focuses on parental alcohol misuse. The clients that we've been working with for this project, Rosa and Ellie, are part of the company Frame Collective. Our mentor for this project was Melon Edelmoye, and now each member of the group will introduce ourselves just to check our microphones are working and everything. So I'm Ellie.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Siwan.
I'm Tommy.
I'm Ben.
I'm Siwan.
Brill.
So just a background on the Behind Closed Doors project. Extensive research shows that parental alcohol misuse in the family home can directly and indirectly contribute to such a wide range of adversities and stressful experiences, which can increase the risk of harmful outcomes for children. These effects are not limited to childhood, but they can have impacts throughout adulthood, affecting relationships, employment, financial security, health, and also coping skills.
Yeah, so the main issues that needed communicating through this project were that alcohol misuse is often a really hidden problem in the home. Families who live with alcohol misuse do not fit a stereotype at all. Alcohol misuse can be harder to identify and easier to hide just because alcohol consumption in the UK is just such a normal thing. A person whose parent drinks in a harmful way may be good at performing normal and trying to conceal the truth about their problems. Parental alcohol misuse affects people throughout their lives and not just throughout their childhood. And drug and alcohol misuse are often treated as a single category, but in fact they're really distinct and separate issues, and this really needed highlighting. So I'm Ellie. The campaign I've worked on for this project is called You Can Never Tell, which aims to represent the fact that you can't tell when or if anyone is suffering with an alcohol misuse problem. The deliverables which I've created are a set of 3 animations and an Instagram campaign. So I'll start off with the visual identity of the project. So as some of you here will already know, my idea for the visual identity is to use these kind of soft abstract shapes as the main visual language throughout the project. And the different shapes, sizes and colours represent the fact that there's no stereotype to anyone who could be suffering with parental alcohol misuse. And any of one of them could be suffering and nobody could tell, like it wouldn't be noticeable at all. And these shapes are kind of soft and calming, which is aimed at being sort of easily approachable by both the policymakers and those affected. I've used this kind of bright, optimistic colour palette, but without it being sort of too neon and in your face. But I think it sort of conveys a kind of bright and enthusiastic outlook to the problem. So the first deliverables that I'll show you today are the 3 short animations. All 3 of the animations play with the use of negative space, which represent the fact that parental alcoholism is often a really hidden problem for lots of people. So watch out for the hidden shapes to develop near the end of each animation. So here's the first one. So the hidden shape within that negative space of this animation is a silhouette of a child's face. And then at the end we have some bold striking black text which states the effect of parental alcohol misuse can have on children and then throughout their adult life. We then have a call to action at the end which is aimed at both the policymakers and those affected by the issues so that they can go and get some help or go and sort of look at Frame's website. I'll now go through the next 2 animations. So here's the second one. That was the second one. And now here's the third one. So in these static images of the animations, you can see the use of negative space runs through all three of them, as well as incorporating the visual identity of these abstract soft shapes, which kind of morph and are masked into the sort of hidden shapes in the negative space. And this sort of maintains the brand consistency throughout the project. So next I'll move on to my second deliverable, which is an Instagram campaign. So I've created a full Instagram campaign to accompany the animations, which includes branded post templates, which can have different statements of bold, striking black text on them, such as this one. Here's an example of how the Instagram feed could look, including sort of branded highlight covers and branded social posts. I've also created some story templates, which could be used on the Instagram page to sort of display information or like reviews or people's sort of personal stories, along with directing policymakers to the page and the website, as stories can often be a more impactful and noticeable sort of than a post itself, in some cases anyway, and these would help the campaign to be sort of visually consistent, as well as creating a sort of professional overall feel for the profile. Finally, I have created a GIF and sticker package. So these range from sort of logo variations to statistics. And these could all be uploaded to the Giphy library, where anyone could use them on their Instagram or Snapchat stories and posts. And this would be really useful for people maybe sharing their stories or directing stories towards policymakers to show that Frame is a consistent and recognizable brand within this industry. And the GIFs and stickers will help them sort of stand out and have that sort of consistent feel. So yeah, that's the end of my You Can Never Tell campaign pitch. Thank you all so much for looking and listening. And we'll now move on to Shannon's campaign.
Thank you, Ellie. Hi, I'm Shannon. My campaign is called Amongst the Crowd, and this is to reiterate the fact that this project is very much a hidden issue and that the people suffering with parental alcohol misuse can conceal their issues very well. If we go on to the next slide. So these are the first poster designs that I created. The visual language I've created is based upon the fact that parental alcohol misuse is not a stereotypical issue, and you can't just pick someone out from the crowd and say this person suffers with parental alcoholism. And this is seen through my use of coloured faces with the random expressions and colours. The wavy lines and text used is to link to the fact that when drunk people talk, they kind of go off on a tangent sometimes. They really struggle to keep to their story or can't walk in a straight line when they're under the influence, and so these visuals are meant to illustrate that. For these posters, I wanted to keep quite a minimal and contemporary aesthetic, as when we spoke to Rosa and Ellie in some of our first client meetings, this is a cut and the style they would prefer us to use. And so in the middle poster, I used the visual language of the faces to kind of link to the statistics as well. So this creates an informative and data design poster, as our project is to do with information design. These faces can be used as data design as well as imagery. And then in the last poster, half of it is covered to reiterate the fact that this is very much a hidden issue, and also to go back to the project title, Behind Closed Doors, because it's a lot to play with there. Even though it's a very common issue due to the social drinking norms in the UK, it's not widely spoken about. So the reason for the poster being covered with an opaque glare is to reiterate this fact. So if we go on to the next slide. I wanted to include an image of some of my posters in context, as I think it's really important to see where the target audience are going to encounter the message. So having the designs in train stations, coffee shops, and other public places will be really effective at grabbing the attention of the policymakers without them realising that they're taking in the information in their free time. If we go on to the next slide. Thank you. This is my social media campaign. I wanted it to feel quite fresh and contemporary with a very exciting use of colour and illustration that will draw in the target audience. Again, in one of our first client meetings, Rosa said that they have quite lengthy research documents that are sent to policymakers that are quite boring. They're quite like on just white background, black text. So I thought some of these images could be used to accompany that. So I wanted to design my Instagram campaign with flat colours, minimal typography to keep things legible, but also with a very exciting colour palette for it to feel like fresh and youthful to our audience. And also as well on social media, if the posts feel too confusing, or if they're like too busy or chaotic or too many elements, they can just get scrolled past and ignored. So I think keeping such like a flat coloured background is very good for that. If you go on to the next slide. This is my GIF for my social media animation. I wanted to use the random facial expressions to reiterate the fact that, again, this isn't a stereotypical issue and it can affect anyone and everybody. Using the coloured faces is quite an effective way to show the diversity of the issue, and it also removes the stereotypes. I've also added a short statement to reiterate the fact that, again, parental alcohol misuse is very much a hidden issue and that we should attempt to uncover it. And then at the end, there's a QR code which can be scanned by the target audience, and it will take them to the Frame website where they can learn a lot more about the projects they work on and who they are as well. And then on the next slide. This is the stationery I've created as well. Again, in the first client meeting with Rosa and Ellie, they said that the research documents are quite lengthy and a lot of black text on white backgrounds. So I thought I could make the stationery more exciting and fresh with a colourful rebrand, adding a pattern to the letters and faces to the envelopes. Putting this into like a context, if the policymakers were to see this envelope on their desk amongst like other white envelopes as well, they would be instantly drawn to this one because of the coloured faces, and it adds like a sense of urgency and importance to it as well. And then on to the next slide. So this basically just talks about the future of where this project could go. I've really enjoyed working on this project. It's been really refreshing and like really exciting to work on a topic that I hadn't explored before. But I can see this project going quite a lot further than just like a social media campaign and posters. So I thought it'd be really useful to continue to advertise this issue to our audience in places that they don't expect to take information in. For example, in coffee shops, like the cardboard coffee cup sleeves or the wraps could be printed with key facts and statistics to inform the audience in public places without being like too hard-hitting and shocking. And then if we go on to the next slide. That's my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I'll now move you across to Siwan.
Thank you, Shannon. So I'm Siwan, and my campaign name is Let's Talk About It. The reasoning behind this is because alcohol misuse is such a hidden problem, especially in the UK. Conversations needs to be had about it, about how many people it's affecting. So having the Let's Talk About It, it starts the conversation for people. And then the products I've created for this brief is a social media campaign and an animation. So if you go to the next slide. So this is one of my posters that I've created. I want to show that the posters, I've created 3, that it works well on its own as well as in a trio. And if in the future you decide to create physical outcomes to put out in the world, this is what I would do. And so each poster has a childlike drawing / handwriting on them. This is kind of subtly show that alcohol misuse and parental alcoholism is affecting young children, and how much, and children don't know where to ask for help, and they don't know if that's all they've known. They don't know that they need help. And so I've highlighted key facts of the statements and the posters in the child's handwriting, just to reiterate the fact that it's affecting children and how much of a problem it is. I've also, on each poster and throughout the campaign, I've created continuous line drawings as one of my main elements of imagery. This helps create sort of like a storyline, so then you follow the lines throughout each of the posters. As you can see, they connect from poster 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. And so this kind of, when you follow the line, it makes you want to go to the next poster and then the poster after that, and it makes you just go through the story. And also there's a sort of connection between these three, because the first one's about alcohol treatment and how they've got dependent children, and then the next one is a picture of a child's face which is crying, and then the third one is again about the treatment. There's like subtle connection between them, and it can be easily made with other outcomes. And on each outcome I've put "Let's Talk About It," which is the campaign name, and I've underlined it all with a crayon effect, just to again reiterate the fact that it's affecting children. And so if you go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So this is the sort of social media campaign I've created, and I've chosen the colours, the navy, baby pink and the bright red throughout the whole campaign, because in the brief it said they wanted contemporary and not kind of dark colours. You wanted something that's bright and it catches people's attention. And I feel like with the bright background colours of the red and the blue, when you scroll through Instagram, it will catch the person's attention, and so they'll want to know more about it. And if with the simple messaging on the Instagram posts, without showing too much, it still engages the audience and it makes them want to look into it more, and so it will be connected to the profile of the frame. And then also on the story highlights, I've used the colours again and the lines, like the wavy lines, to show that it's continuity, and then they can recognise that it's part of this campaign. And so those two other posts I've pulled out of the mock-up. So the one on the left with the white background, I've created like crayon imagery that are supposed to represent child's drawing, just to again reiterate the fact that parental alcoholism is affecting young children, and things need to be done about it. And because the target audience, the main one, is policymakers, I thought there's a good chance that a few of them have families of their own, they have children, and so seeing the alcohol bottles and the wine glasses in the childlike drawing, it might hit home with them more and make them want to drive a change. And if you go on to the next one, please. So this is the animation I've created. It's a 10-second animation. This can be shown on social media, so I've shown it in a square this time, but it can be also done into like a widescreen, so you can put on TVs and presentations or any format you like. I've kept it quite simple with the text and the imagery. I've chosen the wine bottle and the wine glass imagery from the previous posters, just because I thought it was quite nice when it comes onto the screen, it's like it's being drawn, and again, like drawing of the childlike drawing. And then I've put on this at the top, a hidden problem can result in hidden harms, and just to show that alcohol misuse in the UK especially, it is a hidden problem, and you might not be able to see the harms it does straight away because it affects the children later on in adulthood, and it can cause like mental harms, and you can't see them as easily as physical harm. And again, I've put the "Let's Talk About It" in the childlike drawing because I wanted to incorporate again the crayon, the childlike elements of the imagery into it, just to reiterate that it's affecting children. And so if you move on to the next slide, please. So I really enjoyed this brief. I really liked exploring something I haven't done before, and for the imagery I've created line drawings and children's handwriting and drawings. This could be further put into place by creating more of them, so then they could be put on multiple different outcomes, so like stickers and like letter forms and everything. And I was thinking, because policymakers, they tend to be on the go, they tend to be quite busy, it can be put on the coffee cups cardboard sleeves, and the lines are quite easy to implement on these different outcomes. As well as that, I started thinking presentation slides, like templates, so then it's subtly reminding the policymakers that of the campaign, which leads to Frame Collective, and then that gives you more information about where you can go to get help and to make a change about things. So thank you for listening. and we'll move on to Ben.
Thanks, Stuart. Good morning, I'm Ben. So my project is called Shapes That Who We Become, and my product and service is motion graphic and designs for social media. So my aim for the project was to target the individuals who are dealing with the long-term effects of parental alcoholism. I decided to use a fairly straightforward approach so that the message is clear for everyone, including those who aren't affected but may not have an understanding of how common and severe parental alcoholism is in society. The best way I felt to convey this was to use a minimalistic design so that the information is easy to digest. Using a limited color palette complements this approach. I decided on using a light blue because it conveys hope and optimism and is easy on the eyes. Using silhouettes, although works with minimal design, also avoids stereotyping and suggests that anyone can be affected by the problem. The overall aim of the campaign is to start a dialogue within society by encouraging people to talk about their experiences and help them understand that they are not alone and that long-term symptoms and parental alcoholism is much more common than many people may realize. Next slide, please. So my main goal was to put together a short animation, as I feel it can be an effective way of grabbing people's attention and sending a message. Also, as this campaign will mostly be on digital media at first, I decided an animation was a good way of using that as an advantage. So if you play, please. Thank you. So as you can see, I decided to only touch on some of the facts within the animation, as it is mainly a call for action and just a way of getting the message out there. So if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. This is why I thought it would be appropriate to design an infographic that goes into a bit more detail on the information that I decided to use in the animation. The infographic can be used for both digital and print. I designed both landscape and portrait. Landscape can be used as a social media banner, whilst portrait is more appropriate for large print and social media posts. And next slide, please. Thanks. And finally, I created a couple of GIFs that are to be used as posts on social media as a way of enforcing the campaign brand. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Next is Siwan.
Hello, I'm Siwan. My company name is Alcohol Line Damage Lives, and my product and service is a social media campaign. And this is a poster of this project in the form of posters to show the public the dangers of alcoholism, so that the public can pay attention to these social problems. And this is an animation of this project. It's a form of an animated short film. And this is a booklet of this project. It's a show as is a 3-page booklet of this project. And this animation element in this project, this element were used in posters, small booklets, and small animation videos of this project. Yes. And this is a show in the social media to bring people attention. A poster can be used as for suitable magazine article, small booklet, and short animated videos are also excellent tools for matching articles. Yes. And the next. And this is all my projects. And thank you for watching this presentation. Thank you. And the next day is Tommy.
Hi, I'm Tommy. My campaign name is A Bird's Eye View of Parental Alcoholism. This is basically, because basically the concept for my campaign is that if you looked at a crowd of people, you wouldn't be able to tell if one of them was suffering with these issues. And so I've based my imagery off this sort of idea of this crowd of people. Go to the next slide. Yeah, so basically what I've developed is a social media or a web-based like awareness campaign. But among other things, I think I've developed a sort of visual language that's quite multifaceted and could be used however you want to use it, using these people to create this imagery. Obviously in this poster, I've used the negative space between the crowd of people to like show this wine bottle, which obviously is like alcohol. And in this presentation, I want to show how it can be used in different ways as well. I can go to the next one. But yeah, so basically the idea is that this group of people that you can't really tell like what kind of people they are, where they're from, and that's sort of supposed to highlight the fact that in a real world scenario in a crowd of people, you wouldn't really be able to tell because it is such a hidden problem. And so the imagery is supposed to represent how like you just could never tell, and people just pass you by one day and they could be facing that problem and you'd never know. And so obviously I've used negative space in this one on the right, but I've also shown how it could be more effective to use the people to create like this positive space imagery as well. Next slide. So as well as creating imagery with these people, this is a data design project. And so I thought I'd also show how you could use these people to visualize your data, such as statistics or whatever you need to highlight words or whatever. But like obviously here shows some of the statistics and how these people form these letters and form the percentages and whatever. Next one. Okay, this is to show how this imagery could exist on Frame Collective's pre-existing website. Obviously, you could create a new website dedicated just to this project, but I thought I'd visualize how it could work with your pre-existing system and how it quite like fluidly mixes in with your pre-existing visual language and the sort of like black and white like text you've got going on the website. Next one. So this shows how these posters could be incorporated into social media, obviously as posts or as you can see on the right, as a banner for like Twitter or Facebook, whatever you need it for. But it's just sort of, I think it's like this quite effective imagery that does catch the eye because of the contrast between the negative and the positive space. And like, so it's quite easy to use as social media posts. Is that the final slide or is there one more? Oh, it's final slide. Okay, yeah, thank you for listening. Actually, I'll talk a bit, I don't have a slide for it, but I was thinking more in regards to the future of the project and how you could move forward. But I would like to do I could see these people being animated to create these images, sort of just like walking through the crowd to give that more idea of like daily life and like the hustle and bustle of like a big city or something, and these people creating this imagery. Also, I think it would be very effective to create a space for people dealing with these issues to be able to talk to each other or talk to professionals. So I would be more than like happy to work on something like that if it came up in the future. Yeah, so that's what I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Brilliant. Well, thank you all so much for listening and looking at our ideas. I know you are probably going to be really overwhelmed today with all of the other things you'll have to look at. But we were wondering if maybe Rosa and Ellie, maybe we could schedule another call maybe next week to discuss like your thoughts on our final ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you all. Like, you've done an amazing job. So well done. It's been such a pleasure working with you and seeing your ideas develop. And I think you've done yourselves proud today. So, you know, oh, what a good Friday.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You've done a great job. It's not even like lunchtime yet. So that's good. And yeah, we would be happy to schedule something for next week, but I think we thought we were going to give you feedback now. So we have been kind of quite attentively listening to you and have made notes. So if you have the time and it feels good, then
Yeah,
that's for us.
we've got time.
Yeah, that's no worries.
Yeah, we just thought you might not have the time, that was all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're happy to, really, because it feels like, you know, now's the moment really to capture the energy that you've just shared with us, and we'll give you back.
No worries.
Fantastic.
I don't know whether, Wendy, are you going to stay, or are you heading off? Because Paul headed off in the last one, so I just want to check what the form is.
I would love to stay. I would love to stay. It'll be just for probably 15 minutes. The next group is at 11. But I was just so impressed with you guys. You did a wonderful job this morning. I felt very proud, and I haven't been as hands-on as normally I would have liked to have been, and obviously just as well, because you've done a really great job. So I'm really happy to kind of hang out here for a little bit longer. I'm very keen to hear your feedback, and thank you both, Rosa and Ellie, for bringing this brief to us. I think you've completely inspired the students. So yeah, are you going to, Ellie or Shannon, are we going to rejoin on the same link? Is that what you want us to do?
Yeah, because I think this call's only got 5 minutes left, so I don't want it to cut us out halfway through.
I'll alter the time now, and hopefully the same link will work. But if not, maybe I'll just pop everyone an email quickly, if that would be okay, with a new link.
I mean, it should work. So do you want us to pop off now, just to?
Okay, no worries.
Restart. Okay. Well, again, from me, thank you all. It was just amazing. I'm just so thrilled. And I'll join you in a sec if that's okay. If you don't mind me being there, I'll be very quiet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, of course. Okay, see you all in a minute.
Bye.